Hello, welcome back to the third online intermediate English class. My name is Mr. Nicky. We're going to be carrying on our work from your Edge textbooks today. So that's Unit 7 Impression. And we're looking at the second half of the Novio Boy script, which is pages 576 to 587. If you don't have your textbooks, don't worry. Everything that is essential will be included in the PowerPoint. You will see it on screen. However, as usual, you will need a notebook for some written tasks that I'm going to be asking you to do. Objectives today. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to answer verbal analysis questions about the Novio Boy ending. You should also be able to define unit vocab learned thus far. That's going to be some of the new words that we're looking at today and also some of the vocab that we looked at previously. So if you want to recap that before we get to the end of the video, that might be a good idea. Thirdly, we're going to be looking at forming sentences using the present perfect tense. That should be easy by the end. And finally, I'm going to give you a written piece of work. It's only 200 to 300 words, and the topic will be at the end of the presentation. And this relates to the Novio Boy work. It is not a separate subject this week. Okay, so key vocabulary for today. If you've got the books, this is on page 576. The first word is ashamed. When you feel ashamed, you feel guilty or embarrassed about something. The opposite of feeling proud. Sometimes you might have something you've done at school. It might be a piece of work or a performance where you're not really very proud of it. You don't think you did very well. You might feel a little bit ashamed, a bit embarrassed. You don't want to show people what you've done. The next one, we've got conscious. To be conscious about something means you know or are aware of it. So, for example, in the book, it says if you're in a movie theater, a quiet movie theater, and a cell phone starts ringing behind you, you would become conscious of it. You know it's happening. You know it's going on. Okay, so to be conscious, to know, or to be aware of something. Word number 3 is desire. It means to want something strongly. I want strongly to come back to school and see everybody. So we could say, I desire to come back to school and see everybody. That would be fine, synonymous. Word number 4 is flirt. To flirt is to show that you are attracted to somebody by the things that you say or in the way that you act. It might be sort of laughing at someone's jokes, even if they're not very funny, is often sort of a flirty thing. Sometimes it can also be the opposite way around. Sometimes people are a little bit nasty to each other to kind of show that they're attracted to each other. Very strange. Number 5, horizon. The horizon is where the sky and the earth seem to meet. This could be over land or it could be over water. If we look out to sea, we see the line where the sea finishes and the sky finishes, and that would be called the horizon. Next one, privacy, or is sometimes pronounced privacy, means that you are allowed to keep something to yourself, allowed to keep secrets, or it could also be being allowed your own space, being allowed to not have other people around and to be on your own. Okay. Now you would have noticed that I said that in 2 different ways. Sometimes we say privacy, sometimes we say privacy. This isn't even related to an accent. There is no right or wrong way. Generally, it just depends on the flow of the sentence as to which sounds nicer. Okay. Again, this is something that's very hard to teach because it's something that's just ingrained in native speakers. If you were to ask a native speaker whether they say privacy or privacy, they probably couldn't tell you. And giving them different sentences would elicit different responses. Okay. So whichever pronunciation you're more comfortable is fine. And it means to be alone by yourself or being allowed to be alone and by yourself or to keep secrets. Next one, what's that? Number 7, we've got recover. To recover means to get back to your original state. I like to go to the gym. Before I go to the gym, I feel fantastic and healthy. When I leave the gym, I feel very tired, fatigued, sweaty. By the time I've driven home, I'm usually all right. I have recovered. I am back to my original state. I feel okay again. Equally, if you injure yourself or if you have a sickness, an illness or an injury, your body feels bad for a few days, maybe even a few weeks. And when it feels better again, we would say that you have recovered. You are back to your original state. Last one, reluctant. When you are reluctant about something, it means you don't really want to do it. You're unwilling to do it. Sometimes in class, teachers pick on students to do reading work or to answer a question, and not everybody wants to do it. They don't want to stand up. They don't want to be in front of the class. We would say that person is reluctant to do the task. Okay, so you might want to make a little note of those, maybe write down some of the key words that I just mentioned. And when you're done with that, we will move on to the next slide. Okay, so this is the first page of today's reading. There are 7 pages that we're going to go through. The first 4, I'm going to be reading with you. Okay, so I'm going to read the stage directions this week, and you're going to read the parts of the characters, ideally out loud to practice pronunciation. Okay, now, obviously we're not in the same room, so I'm going to be sort of reading your bits in my head, and then just reading the stage directions. And hopefully you've got time to read it out loud in that time. Okay, so try and read as fast as you can to keep up. If you can't keep up, then by all means, pause the video, make sure you complete the reading, and then you can restart and I will give the stage directions when it continues. Okay, so you can go at your own pace here, but we're going to read it together. So, Rudy, straightening the collar of his shirt, returns to the table. Patricia hurries to the table as well. Rudy perks up. Rudy's mother and her friend Estella enter the restaurant. The mother immediately sees Rudy, but he doesn't see her. Estella points at the young couple, Rudy and Patricia, but the mother shushes Estella. Alex sees Rudy's mother. Alex gulps and hides behind a menu. Juan raises a finger to his mouth. The 2 women take seats quietly and hide behind menus. The waiter enters and takes away Rudy's and Patricia's plates and gives them a menu. Rudy and Patricia look at each other. Rudy takes the menu and opens it up. Rudy pulls his notepad from his pocket and reads from it surreptitiously. Rudy looks around the restaurant. His mother raises a menu to her face. Rudy continues reading. Rudy looks around again. Rudy looks in the direction of the women. Rudy gets up and looks behind the menu. He is shocked, but quickly recovers. He starts to walk back to his table. Old man loudly whispers. Rudy stops near the old man. Old man in a loud whisper. Rudy, still feeling short of money, agrees. He goes up to Estella. Estella looks over at the old man and waves flirtatiously. Rudy returns to his table. Juan strums dance music. Patricia lifts Rudy from the chair and pulls him almost roughly. Patricia tries to dance closely, but Rudy struggles to dance at arm's length, conscious of his mother's watching. They dance until the waiter coughs for their attention and approaches. Rudy gulps as he reads the bill. He digs into his pocket. Patricia looks towards the women. Patricia laughs. Patricia gives Rudy a kiss on his cheek. She leaves. Rudy looks at his mother and Estella angrily as they slowly lower the menus from their faces. Okay, so that was the first 4 pages. I hope you were able to keep up with the pace there. If not, I hope you're able to pause and that works for you. I'm going to put the next few pages on screen now. Once it's on there, please pause the video, read it at your own pace, then move forward to the next one. Again, I'll pause it. You can read it at your own pace, and that will be the end of the reading. Okay, here we go. Okay, final page. And that is the end of our script. Okay, we're going to go through some questions now. These questions are going to be done verbally. I'm going to ask them to you, and I would like you to speak your response as though it were in a speaking exam. However, you might need to do a little bit of preparation to answer them. So I'm going to give you the question. What I'd then like you to do is rewind the video to look at the pages, or if you have the book, just check the pages in your book. Write down a couple of notes that are going to help you answer, and then try and give your answer verbally. Okay? So speaking question 1. What do you think Alex means when he says it's tough being a novio boy? How does the script support this meaning? Okay, so hopefully you have found the information and answered that verbally. I'm going to be reading question 2 next. Question 2. Rudy is reluctant to dance because his mother is watching. How else do Rudy's friends and family affect his date? You can pause the video to go back and find this and then come back and answer. Question 3. Rudy says his family does not respect his desire for privacy. Is he right to be upset, or is he overreacting? Use evidence from the play to support your answer. Again, go back if you need to, or use your book to prepare your answer, and then you can give your answer verbally. Final speaking question number 4. What do you think Patricia's impressions of Rudy are after their first date? Use examples from the text to support your answer. Okay, this is probably the most important of today. Obviously, the unit is titled Impressions, and here we are looking at Patricia's impressions. So, what do you think her impressions are of Rudy after the first date? Try and find some examples to support your answer. Okay, so I hope you're able to answer all of those verbally. I hope that works, and I hope that you found the information in the script as necessary. We're going to have a quick review of the key vocabulary today. We're going to start with today's words, and then we're going to have a look at a few of the words from previous weeks. I'm going to be giving quite short answers here. So I'm going to put the word on the board, and then I'm going to give you sort of 10 seconds to have a think about what words you would use to define it. And then I'm going to give the answers verbally, and hopefully our words match up and we get the same meaning. If you think they're near enough, you can give yourself a point. If not, double check the definition in the dictionary. Okay. Word number 1 today was ashamed. What does that mean? Okay, so ashamed, we said it was the antonym of proud, to feel guilty or embarrassed about something that you have done. Word number 2 is conscious. What does conscious mean? Okay, to be conscious means that you know something is happening, you are aware of it. Desire. What does that mean? To desire something means we want it very strongly. I gave the example of going back to school at the beginning of the lesson. Word number 4 is flirt. What does flirt mean? Okay, we said that to flirt means to show that you're attracted to somebody through the things you say or through your actions. In the script, it was used to describe the wave that Estella gave to the old man. It was flirtatious, a flirtatious wave. Horizon. What does horizon mean? Okay, we said that horizon is where the earth meets the sky, or where it appears to meet the sky. If we look out to sea, we see that line, or if we look a long, long distance out into the countryside, we can often see the horizon. Next one, privacy, privacy. Again, multiple ways of saying that, but what does it mean? Okay, if you have privacy or if you have privacy, it means you are able to be alone, away from other people, or to keep things secret. Recover, what does recover mean? Okay, to recover was to return to the original state. I gave the example of going to the gym and your body recovering afterwards, and also after illness or injury, recovering, getting back to normal. Last word from today was reluctant. What does reluctant mean? Okay, so I said that being reluctant is meaning that you are unsure or unwilling to do something. We gave the example of sometimes students in class who don't want to answer in front of the whole class or who don't feel confident. We would describe them as a little bit reluctant. Okay, the next set of words are from previous week, so let's see if you can recall any of these. The first is impression. What does impression mean? Okay, so an impression is the ideas or the thoughts that we have about someone, and we were talking about the first impression usually, the first time we meet them, what we think about them the first time we meet them. Next one, compliment. Okay, a compliment is to say something nice to somebody. We might compliment them for being very good at something. Sometimes we compliment the way people look. We often compliment people when we flirt with them, if you want to combine those words together. Word number 3, romantic. What does romantic mean? Okay, something romantic is intended to show love. It's often a gesture or a gift that we want to show how much we love somebody. Would be romantic. The next word is conceal. To conceal means to hide something or to keep it secret. The next word is the antonym of this, reveal. Okay, so to reveal is the opposite of hiding. It means to show something. Just a few left. Nervous. Nervous is a feeling of being scared or worried or anxious about something that's going to happen in the future. We often get nervous before important exams or important events. Our penultimate, our second to last word is elegance. What does that mean? Okay, elegance is to do with beauty. Generally, we're talking about high class or high quality as well. Elegance. And our last word, personality. How would you define personality? Okay, personality would be the characteristics or traits that make somebody who they are. Some people have funny personalities, some people have very serious personalities, some people have bossy personalities. Okay, the characteristics that make them who they are. I hope you were able to get most of those. If there were any that you didn't get, maybe go and check the definition or try writing a few sentences using that word just to try and get it ingrained in your memory. We will be testing them again in future weeks. Not all of them, but some of them. But it was good to know all. Okay, whistling through. We are moving on to talk about the present perfect tense now. We're not going to spend too long doing this. The present perfect tense of a verb can tell us about an action that happened at some point in the past. For example, I have picked a restaurant. The present perfect tense can also describe an action that began in the past and is still happening now. For example, so far, I have enjoyed this meal. Looking at the two sentences on the board, can you work out the algorithm or what it is we need to do to form the present perfect tense? What is the rule? Pause the video and have a little think. Okay, so if you're resuming, I hope you've worked this out. To form the present perfect tense, we want to be using have or has, and then adding the past participle of the verb, which for most regular verbs is just by adding ed, although there are, of course, irregular verbs which change when we do this. If you have the books, you'll be able to see that. So we're going to have a little practice. I'm going to put some words on the boards below. We've got Rudy, Patricia, and they. Then we've got have or has, the first word of our form. Then you've got three past tense verbs there: ordered, eaten, written. Okay, one regular and two irregular. You'll see we've changed there. Eaten is not ate, it would be eaten, and written is not wrote, it is written, obviously. Okay, and last we've got before many times and some notes to finish the sentence. So you should be able to choose any of those and mix them together to make 5 sentences. Please write those in your notebooks and pause the video while you do so. Once you've completed that, you can resume the video. Okay, so some example sentences that you could have had. Rudy has eaten many times. They have ordered before. Patricia has written some notes. Okay, any of those would have been acceptable. There are lots more there that you could mix in. Now then, once you've finished that, I'm going to ask you to now make 5 sentences of your own using this structure. It might be helpful to think about things that are going on for you now. For example, I have finished my work or something like that. Mr. Nicky has not stopped talking. Whatever you want to do. Okay, so hopefully you've finished those other 5 sentences now and understand the present perfect tense. Final task for today is writing. I'm going to give you the outline and then this needs to be completed in your own time and sent to your English teacher. So the brief, you need to imagine that you are Patricia. You've returned home from your date with Rudy and you're now writing an email to your friend Alicia. You need to tell how you tried to make an impression on Rudy during the date, and then you should look again at the play to use details to put in your email. We want to be as specific as possible with things that happen. Now, you'll have seen at the beginning of the presentation, the objectives, we said we want this to be between 200 and 300 words long. So it's not too long. I would say you can probably find at least 3 or 4 examples of maybe things that Rudy did to cast an impression, or of things that Patricia tried to do to cast an impression. For example, maybe the dancing. Maybe she was trying to flirt with him there and he was a little bit resistant. He didn't want to dance. She didn't understand why. That might be an interesting thing to look at, okay? So go back through the play, find some of these moments where Tricia tried to make an impression on Rudy. Okay? So, objective review today, things we should have achieved. Did you answer verbal analysis questions about the Novio boy ending? Okay, we had 4 questions earlier on. I asked you to go back through the script to find examples and then answer verbally. If you did that, thank you very much. That's excellent. Well done. The second was to define the unit vocab learnt thus far. That was this week and last week. Hopefully when we went through, you were able to give definitions for most, if not all of those words. Again, if there were any that you're unsure of, go through, learn them again, check the dictionary, try and practice them by using them in some sentences. Thirdly, were you able to form sentences using the present perfect tense? We just did this. I asked you to do 5 using the example words and then 5 of your own. If you completed that, very well done. Finally, I'm guessing you probably haven't done this yet, but it is to do is to write your 200 to 300 word passage, being Patricia, feeding back to Alicia about how you made an impression. If you've done all of that, very well done. Thank you very much for taking part again, and I will see you next week.